A thumbs up.
Just make it for it. I guess that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening. I call the meeting of the Falmouth Public Schools to order for February 8th, 2022. Per Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, the public will not be allowed to physically access this school committee meeting, but it can be viewed live on channel 14, and a recording of this meeting can be viewed on YouTube. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. If any member of the public would like to make an audio or video recording of this meeting, please notify me by raising the hand icon on your screen, and I will notify the public per the Massachusetts public meeting laws. Do we have anyone who is making a recording tonight? And Callie, I see you. Thank you very much, Callie.
Recording in progress.
First, Terry, for the mission and vision.
The Falmouth Public Schools mission. The Falmouth Public Schools creates world-class student learning experiences. Our members are empowered to pursue their goals with curiosity, integrity, and resiliency. The vision: Clippers are creative, inquisitive, and engaged learners who participate in their community as socially responsible citizens. Clippers effectively communicate and solve problems that impact the world around them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Terry. Public comment. Members of the public are welcome to speak about items that are not on the agenda. Comments should be limited to 2 minutes in length. Due to the open meeting law, there will be no debate or action taken on public comment items. For items on the agenda, the chair may accept comments from the public following the committee's discussion of an item. Additional comments and feedback can also be submitted by email to schoolcommittee@falmouth.k12.ma.us. Do we have any public comment this evening? I'll wait a few moments. Okay, seeing none, the first item on our agenda is the public hearing on FY23 budget. And so I make a motion to open this discussion, the public hearing on the school committee, the school budget for fiscal year 23. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Melissa, second. It's a roll call vote. Lisa, we'll start with you.
Lisa Hart, yes.
Terry Medeiros,
Terry Medeiros, yes.
Bill Ryder.
You're voting on the budget?
Yes, we're voting to open a public hearing on the budget.
Yes. Right, yes.
Bill Dorfman.
Bill Dorfman, yes.
Welch, yes. Melissa Keith, yes. Leah Palmer, yes. Andrea Thorold, yes.
And Natalie Kellogg was also a yes. So I will turn this over to Dr. Doran Patrick, right to Patrick.
So this is the public meeting, and I just want to make sure what you want to do here versus the school committee meeting. So the $52,950,000 local budget that we planned is still on course. And we do recommend that is what we would be moving forward with and voting on at our next meeting. The changes in that, year over year have really not been significant. In terms of, collective bargaining, was the largest impact on the budget. With the town's allocation, it's taken up the majority of it. We have not made any significant changes in our non-salary account. That's fortunate because our major cost drivers in our non-salary are either under contract or do seem to be under control, and that typically includes utilities, transportation, and out-of-district placement. So that's very fortunate. That has not been a budget buster. Nothing in the local budget that we've presented before has changed.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. We have been presented with this budget before, and I know that we picked up our budget booklets. Are there any questions for Patrick? Okay, and seeing none from the school committee, because it is a public hearing, are there any budget-related questions for Patrick from our audience? Okay, seeing none, is there anything you would like to add before I close the public hearing piece of the budget?
No, I think we've presented it at several different venues around the schools. We am here at the school committee at the last meeting, so always welcome to take input, but I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep, Leah.
Just have one question just for the public. So if the public wanted to access the budget books, where could they do that?
There are books at the libraries, or will be at the libraries. Thank you. If they're, I'll confirm whether or not they're at the libraries. That's the primary thing. There's books in the school committee. I'm sorry, the admin office. After the budget is approved, we do put it online. So there's a number of, those are typically what we've done in the past.
Great, and also for the school committee, we are meeting next Tuesday. It's a special meeting, as we know, to vote on the budget. It's a one item on the agenda, so we're going to meet by Zoom. I figure that's probably easiest for all involved. So seeing as there aren't any questions, I make a motion to close the school budget public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Melissa seconds, and it is a roll call vote. Lisa?
Lisa Hart, yes.
Bill Ryder?
Ryder, yes.
Jerry Maderas, yes.
Dorfner, yes.
Welch, yes.
Wilson?
Melissa Keith, yes.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Andrew Thorne, yes.
And Ally Canopoulos also a yes. So thank you very much, Patrick, for that update on the budget. Next up, unfortunately, our student advisor is not available this evening. So we are going to move to our presentation on cultural proficiency, professional development.
Thank you. So I had mentioned the cultural proficiency professional development during my mid-cycle review, and I thought this would be a good presentation for the school committee and the public to hear the work that we're doing. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. St. Julian and Mr. Zara.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back in the school committee. Derek is with me. I just want to give just a short update of what we've been doing. As you know, cultural proficiency is really, it's a course, professional development for educators, for anyone that's in the school system, and we really want to focus on teaching all students and really effectively dealing with people who are different, culturally different from us. And so we've had a lot of success. Course one, we've got Derek, how many course ones have we completed so far?
We've done 3 course ones,
We've done-
and we have almost 80 staff involved that took the course one, and that's principals, teachers, administration, specialists,
Business
Yeah, so-
managers.
Any educator, we call that, those are any educating, we're all educators of students, and it's really a deep dive of your character, yourself. So it's looking at, if we look at 3 C's, we're dealing with character and really looking at yourself and seeing how you impact and how you deal with culture, how your culture might affect your class, just you. And then the second one, I'm so glad that we've just completed our second course, which is cultural proficiency of the classroom. So the second C is classroom, and we're looking at how our culture could impact the classroom. And we had 36, no,
Yep,
34.
we start with 36. I think we ended up with just at 30, and we actually just finished last night our final course. And to be honest, we were 100% blown away.
Blown away,
is the word for it. We did a final project, and we asked the teachers and staff to create something, a cultural proficiency project in their classroom or their school. And the things that we have seen, full school like T-Ticket being involved in a whole school professional development, reflecting on reading. We have teachers at Mullen Hall doing a game to help students and adults find their feelings and their emotions and how to express themselves to feel as assets to the classroom and as part of the community, their classroom and school community. We had teachers at the high school who were trying to get a weekly pulse of, in multiple different classrooms. It was just, and there was so much more. I mean, honestly, what the teachers presented yesterday to us was like nothing we expected. And we've had full participation we've had participation from every school. Every school has been involved, at least in course 1. And almost every school is involved in course 2, but we plan on running another course 2. And hopefully our plan is to have a course 3 starting right at the beginning of the school year.
Third C is community. The course 3 is all about community and really how does the entire school as well as the community deal with the others, the difference. And so that's been fantastic. I want to just iterate what Derek was saying. We were just blown away. We're loving how teachers and educators from all areas are coming together and doing it. And one of the things that really hit me was that they are taking the kids, the students, and they are when they dig deep with the students, they're saying, how can you contribute to learning? And that was so powerful, because as we dig deep and try to understand kids and their culture and how that might be assets, one of the great assets is how our kids are contributor to the learning. What do they bring on the table? And it was just so powerful. I can't wait to see what the next class is. And these are new leaders. Derek and I are pseudo the leaders of this cultural proficiency course, but we are seeing new leaders, fresh leaders coming out, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to see who steps up and takes the next level. So I'm very excited about course 3, and hopefully it will benefit the entire district.
And I think we also got to give credit to Catherine Sidaitis from North and Abir Zaneh from
Absolutely.
Lawrence, who've been a big help and support for us as well, helping to create course 2, which and Abir was in course 1 with us, and she right from course 1 she was able to take it and then helped us create course 2 with Catherine. So we definitely have full involvement, and it's a pleasure to work with our colleagues who are willing to start the conversation, and as Henry will always say, just lean in and kind of put themselves out there as much as possible and asking those tough questions and trying to be involved in those tough conversations. And it was very, very powerful. So I was very privileged to be learning from Henry and be learning from my colleagues and just help them take me along the journey. But we're very fortunate. I feel like it's been very successful.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten some great feedback from staff. I think that Henry and I've definitely enjoyed working with Henry. We have our little Abbott and Costello shtick and enjoy ourselves, but I think
we're opposites. We're definitely opposites.
I hope that it's been well represented, and everyone has enjoyed it, because Henry and I have both gotten a lot out of it. It's been amazing.
And I just love the fact that we have amazing teachers, and you put them in a safe place, have them discussing these tough issues of race, of differences, and then having them come up with, wrestle with these concepts and then come up with amazing ideas and how we can educate all students. it's been so wonderful to see, and I'm really excited for the next step. So questions, anyone? We can talk about this all the time. Questions, but I know we only have a few minutes. So any questions on the course? Oh, Derek, you want to talk about the Bridgewater?
Oh, good call. Yes. So part of the program with our cultural proficiency courses, teachers have an option to register at Bridgewater State University and apply for a credit. So if they're going to go through our 3-part series, they'll be able to leave the 3-part series with 3 graduate credits from Bridgewater. And we have a lot of teachers who've actually taken that opportunity. So I think that was definitely a nice touch. Dr. Tellier worked very hard at trying to build that relationship with Bridgewater, and I think it's paying off. So it's a great opportunity.
Henry and Derek, you mentioned 3 courses. Could you speak to approximately how long each course
So
is?
the courses are they've actually increased and decreased, and we're really trying to fine tune what's the best numbers. We've had like 10 weeks. I think right now we're at 6 weeks. So we meet like once a week, and there might be extended like maybe 2 weeks in the middle of it, but we try to do about a 6-week kind of cycle, and the night will be from like 4:30 to 7, and with a break, and we just kind of just hammer some concepts, some hard concepts, some difficult things to grapple, but we have a week time to go through some reading and to just individually deal with it, and then come together as a whole group, and then small Zoom groups, and just to really digest and work over these concepts.
Great, thank you. Questions? Yes, Terry.
Hi, Henry, you mentioned that some teacher, I don't know if you said T-Ticket School or one of the elementary schools, had developed a game. Have they played it with their classroom yet?
Yeah, so no, that's excellent. That and Derek, you can definitely jump in. But what we did is we had a project for them to do, and we said, don't just make a project, but implement the project and tell us how it went. And oh my goodness, I wish you were all there to see these projects. And some of the groups had activities with the kids, and then they shared the results and how they had pictures, and one group had actually formulated a book of their interactions with the kids. So it was from elementary, from preschool right up to the high school, and they were powerful activities, really digging in and trying to best understand students, and then from there change their course, the way they practice. Derek, which one had the game? There was a lot of them. There were
that one in particular. That was when I mentioned it was Mullen Hall.
Mullen Hall.
One of the teachers found a game where the students can learn to express where they're at in a conversation or a scenario, and express how they're feeling, what they need, and what someone else's feelings might be, and it really helped the students just kind of be part of the conversation and enter the classroom as a community member, and be able to have like they're an asset to the classroom, and that their feelings are being acknowledged and being able to express what they need from it. So it was a wonderful idea that was worked out in multiple classrooms. I believe first grade has started, then helped the kindergartners learn, and moving up to second grade. But like Henry said, the idea of the whole project was to be able to try to implement something and be able to bring it back to the entire course and provide feedback, get feedback from teachers, but provide feedback to the staff of what staff members and students have felt with the project, and where to take it from there. So it was like Henry and I said, we were honestly blown away by all the presentations. It was certainly something that was phenomenal. And Henry and I did not know where we were going to go from there, or what we were going to get, but we were 100% blown away by our colleagues. It was impressive.
You know me, I'm always interested in the student part of it.
Yeah.
Do you have any pictures of their projects or any or could a kid
Oh,
get
can
something
we?
from the mouths of children? You'll learn so much.
Oh my goodness, do we didn't even think about, we should have, we should have had that all taken, but we had all the stuff already. We have so much materials. I'm wondering if we should share them. I mean,
Right,
there's a
maybe-
lot.
Yeah,
maybe-
we haven't been able to compile all of the projects in one spot yet. I've gotten some emails where teachers are sharing it to me right now. But it's definitely something the plan is to get a hold of. Like I said, we just finished last night. So I know some teachers are still sending me the emails now, but yes, to answer your question, we can definitely get a hold of
We
that.
can definitely show them, and they were truly amazing. And the student part is definitely good when we're trying to get kids involved. And again, I love that student ownership in their learning was powerful. And then with the teacher part, teachers teaching others. It's not us, but in T-Ticket, they were given the reins on some faculty meetings, and they had discussions about cultural proficiency with their school, with their colleagues. They had books that they considered and read it, and it was very powerful. So definitely the kids part is valuable, but also teachers teaching others teachers and really digging in on these issues was equally powerful.
Just today, one of my colleagues at Lawrence, who was in the class, took one of the ideas that she had from the high school presentation, and already tried implementing that today. So the fact that she was in class yesterday, learned what the high school did about trying to get a weekly pulse, she started it today in class and she enjoyed it that much and thought it was that powerful that she already put it into motion today and just start working on it. So that's for the staff right away to show us everything last night, and for staff to already be thinking of how they want to use it. I mean, it was, again, I can't reiterate enough how powerful it was. And there was even a project at Morris Pond that did a mural that was exchanged to, I think,
Seven
seven
schools, one in China.
schools and one coming in from China. So that's where our colleagues are taking this to a whole new level. It's
amazing.
And then even just the simple things, meeting in the morning, teacher at Morris Pond has a sign in a different language saying good morning in a different language every day. And what an impact that was to the students, the staff, and the parents, the feedback that she got about that. So it's not just the big things, it's the little things that our colleagues are doing as well, that you're just like, it means so much. And it's wonderful to see us going in that direction and trying to
Even
make
that,
those.
even that little thing, I've heard from other colleagues saying that's the best part of the day. When she greets in another language, that's the best part of the day. And we want to make sure all kids are feeling welcome today. This is their school. They come in here, they see their language, and they're like, yes, this is my school. And I absolutely feel welcome. I'm ready to learn. And so that's a powerful thing. That was the name game. Remember the name game? Oh my goodness. The name game is good for kids. One teacher brought up the book called The Name Game, and how powerful it is when you're a teacher and you pronounce people's name properly. And I know sometimes it's a struggle, but even that struggle is more important than just letting it go, but just pronouncing kids' names properly, every single names, no matter what culture they are. That's a powerful, yes, this classroom is my classroom. And that was a powerful book, as well as activity that came in there. Was it name jar? It was a name jar. I'm sorry.
Name jar.
The name jar. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. The name jar, which was very powerful. So that was, there were so many amazing stuff that went on. I really think we definitely need to share with the school committee. We were blown away. We were absolutely blown away.
Awesome. Bill Ryder, did you have a question?
Yes, this professional development sounds like you had I think 80 people you mentioned on
Yep.
Facebook. chapter or course 1, and then 30 some on course 2.
Mhm.
Are we looking to expand that into next year, a continuation of the professional development, and try to implement then more bodies as far as teaching staff and administration is concerned?
So our goal, we want to have give an opportunity to have a full course 3, which is, again, our goal is to have it start in September and give an extended time, because with this way, our hope is we can reach more out to the community, have more time to have community projects and build on stuff within the school community. But that's what we want to have, is at least one more course 2 to give more teachers an opportunity to go through course 2, because they need that course 2 in order to get to course 3. But then once we do course 3, is deciding how we want to continue the process. And that's, we got to figure that out once we get through an entire course 3, but that the entire series will hopefully have its first course 3 by September.
But just to answer your question there, our goal was, was kind of almost fulfilled in a little bit from course 2, because we saw teacher leaders stepping up, taking this to their school. Derek and I, we're only 2 people. We have other responsibilities. We can't do it all. But if we can instruct other teachers to some of these concepts, and then they are leaders in their schools, that's going to be huge. That's a game changer. If we had these school leaders coming up and saying, yes, we're going to make a change, and let's make sure every kid is an asset in our schools, and these are how we're going to change our school. This is how we're going to do it in Mulhall. This is how we're going to do it in Lawrence. This is how we're going to do it. And they take it and bring it. That's going to be much better than Derek and I doing the courses. We're going to do the courses as long as we can, but I don't think that's the end goal. The end goal, I think, for us is building leaders, school-based leaders, and continuing the discussion, continuing the work there.
And after what we saw last night, we know we have those leaders.
We have those leaders.
We have those.
Absolutely.
We have those leaders at each school that, that can help facilitate those conversations that we're looking for. So it was 100% proved just with 30 people, and knowing that we have 50 more waiting to take course 2. We know we have the school leaders that can help us there.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for Melissa?
I'm not sure if this question is for Mr. St. Julian and Mr. Zara, or it's for Dr. Dark. What are we doing today for students that come into the school that have when Mr. St. Julian, when you mentioned the name jar and, teachers knowing how to pronounce kids' names before they get to the school so that they feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid that had a funny last name, that speaks volumes to me. And I'm wondering, are we doing anything like that now? Is it kind of just the same what we've always done? First day of school, what's your last name? And it's mispronounced, or calling the names out, it's accidentally mispronounced. Is the student correcting the teacher? What are we doing?
So I can just say for us, our teachers, when we're in classes, though, making sure students feel welcome is our whole genre. I mean, this is a welcoming place. This is a welcoming classroom. We're doing that now. What happens on each individual level that the teachers have to take, and it's an art, it's an artwork where you have to figure out what you do in preschool is going to be totally different than what you're going to do in high school. And we're opening up that discussion with the teachers. Is there some systematic way of making sure that happens? No, but that is part of our discussion.
I think
they are assets, and there's no way they're going to be assets if you mispronounce their names. There's no way you can say we want you here if you don't know some of their background, some of where they're from. So that is our course in a nutshell.
So I'm going to give a shout out to our principals and the ELD teachers that I have witnessed firsthand, that they make sure and they work with the students. And so I actually sat in on a meeting where, we had to take time to understand how to pronounce And even to know, like, when there's 2 or 3 pieces to the name, do you want all 3? Do you want the,
Sure.
first name? But to ask the student, and I saw that in real time, it was very powerful for the student to be able to speak up and teach us, right?
Right.
And then it goes from there to the teachers, right? So the principals do a great job, but the ELD teachers also work with that and work with our teachers. So
I hope that we're
yes,
doing
yes,
that for like all students, not just students that have it and that are obvious from a new country or a new, because again, when you have a funny last name and you're not from, I don't know, I'm gonna make up you're not from China, it's sort of, well, it looks all right, it sounds, but are we taking that step with all the students? I know that a lot of last names are easy and not a problem, but a lot are not, and it's not just kids that are new to the country or new to the community, or I just want to make sure that like if we're doing this, I hope that it's for everyone.
Yeah. Ryan, did you want to add something, Jeff?
Oh, just as a graduate of one of the classes that Henry and Derek had led as well, one of the discussions that we had at the high school level was trying to get a form for day one for pronunciations, for nicknames, for things like that, to let kids be able to very not engage with them on a huge classroom level, but very personally get that information so that we could start day one being respectful of some very basic things.
That sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Do it online, they could record the audio and tell you how to actually say it.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than doing the finesse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Ryan, I appreciate that. That's
Can I just add something with Ryan? Ryan's my star pupil. I'm telling you right now, Ryan's a rock star. He took our class, and then he had a student from another country, and when his video production had his curriculum, and when he found out where that student was from, he changed his curriculum to lean in onto that student's particular country. And I was so amazed. I was so psyched to see Ryan changing curriculum and say, okay, we've got this student from this here. This is a perfect example. Let's learn from him. Let's let him be an asset. And I was just amazed to see the skills of the video production was maintained, but then leaning on to individual students. That was so powerful. I couldn't even, I didn't teach Ryan. Ryan just took it and ran with it. And I was so amazed by that. So Ryan's definitely a great product, and definitely, I'm so glad I heard your voice, Ryan, so I can plug you in.
See, another leader in our school community right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You had a question.
Yeah, I'm just a question around, is this voluntary or is this mandatory training?
No, this is completely voluntary on the part of the staff.
Okay, so I just wanted to commend the energy involved in this. So I like just how energized you guys are, and hearing about how engaged the teachers were and how excited they were to try out these new ideas and projects. I just think it's so nice during this time when everyone has been so incredibly stressed out to be able to do something like this. So it really just like makes my heart sing to hear, that teachers are energized about this and really thinking about really how to be inclusive with everyone in their class. So just kudos to you guys for doing this and for having so much energy and being so excited about doing this and being so excited about the products that are being produced by teachers. So I really, really appreciate that. And, to hear how many people are volunteering to do this is great. I guess I just have one follow-up question to this is there a thought, I love to think about sustainability with this, and is there a thought of making this more mandatory for our
And I did, but that's actually how Henry and I got started together. We started creating a little bit of a cultural proficiency piece that Henry's been doing in multiple schools already, and kind of consolidated that to some training for the new teacher induction program. And we've kind of made it a staple now. So the last few years, in August, when the new teachers come in, there's a portion dedicated cultural proficiency portion dedicated to the new teacher induction program that we've built in. So that's actually where this all started to stem from. And then once we were hitting the new teachers, we wanted to find a way to get teachers who had been part of the discussion. And that's what stemmed into the 3-part series, but it all started with the new teacher induction program.
Great, and then I have one other follow-up with sustainability pieces. It sounds like you're talking about teacher leaders out there. So is there a plan to potentially grow some more trainers out there who could be facilitating these, maybe at the local levels, their local schools?
So yeah, course 3 is that's we're not going to be we're going to be very blunt by saying you have taken 2 courses, you're in the 3rd course. We're expecting some leadership aspect in your level. We'll have community members being involved in this course 3, but we're going to be that's going to be our whole goal. Is just we would like to have a core group of leaders in every school, and their task is just to look at the cultural proficiency of this school, the implementing the impact of culture, just looking at how we can be inclusive in all areas. So that's going to be that's our whole goal. So coming in fall, that's going to be one of our main push.
Awesome. Andrea.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. I was fortunate to be able to attend the virtual professional development that took place today. And I did hear at some point a teacher calling out Mr. Zara and Mr. St. Julian about them being able to better understand what was going on today's professional development, having gone through your course. And we know that any one course is never going to do it, but nice that these are scaffolding together and increasing everyone's understanding of the next pieces that come. So I just thought that was pretty great that they were making use of your information and building on that. It's great.
that was pretty unique. Yeah. Did you pay that person off? Did you pay that person off? I wasn't sure. Did you give it?
The wrong person. That's not the person I paid off. The person I paid off didn't say anything. Like, come on.
My question would be, I guess, probably to Dr. Dora is, so I think this whole idea of formulating leaders in the buildings is really important because they just can't do all of this and reach everyone. So what needs to be done to support those leaders moving forward?
So Derek and Henry have already started that, and that's part of kind of drawing them in and having part of the planning process and just building up on what they did. So right now it's those volunteers that want to step up and want to lead courses. And so that's part of their plan as well. They're doing a fantastic job, but thank you to both of you.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I thank you both on behalf of the school committee and in general. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to hear this update, and I love starting our meetings on such a high. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For inviting us.
Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is presentation of class rank at the high school.
Yeah, so we had talked about this at the last meeting, and it was a request that that we continue to or remind ourselves of the presentation, because the first time we did the presentation was in March of 2020, and then there's been some a few memos that has come and shared with the school committee, and so we welcome Mary Gans and Tom McManaman back to share more about class rank. So they're on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Gans. As you know, I can no longer say I'm the very proud principal of Falmouth High School. But
no, that's my job now, Mary.
Yes, right. I'm the very proud former principal, but Tom and I, who is doing an awesome job as principal now, to having taken over, we're both here to just discuss the class rank elimination that is being proposed. You have the memo. We won't go through every detail, but there's just some points that we want to highlight. First of all, the formula at Falmouth High School, it's been in existence for a long, long time. And I've researched this actually for many years now. And we've, dug through the archives to try and find out where it originated. No one knows. And it's really unusual. I found no other school that has this kind of class rank that heavily weights elective courses with points. It also, because certain electives are given honors, and a few are AP credit, which that's a separate issue, but if there's honors credit, they get extra points. Whereas, for example, you could take 4 years of woodworking classes and you could take advanced woodworking and be able to really build something incredible, and you will always get CP points for that elective, and you will never be able to gain extra points and jump ahead in your class rank. The rank also is calculated on a cumulative basis, so it's not through an average. So students who take more classes, just more classes, automatically end up with a chance for a higher rank, or I guess a lower rank, whichever way you look at it. Over my years, 6.5 years as principal, I'd consistently received questions from students and their parents and guardians. I don't understand. My child is in all AP and honors classes, has been for 3.5 years, is getting all A's and maybe even a few B's sprinkled in there. Why are they ranked number 25? And well, it's because they've taken culinary or childcare or woodworking, and they haven't taken certain other electives. And what we've also found, and other principals, I've talked to a lot of other principals over the years about it too, the ranking system really fosters, unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy competition, and a lot of increase in anxiety. We know that students are under stress as it is for a variety of reasons, and trying to figure out where you are in regards to your classmates is just one more stressor. And I think one thing that I didn't include in the memo, but I wanted to point out, and it's something that I've talked to a lot of other principals about over the years as well, is a class rank presumes that every student has the same opportunities in high school. And we know that's not always the case. And so eliminating class rank, students really are competing against themselves. And they're going to take courses and electives that they're actually truly interested in, and not a course just so that they can up their class rank and, really do things that they enjoy. I think those are the points that I wanted to make so far. Tom is going to talk about just the trends with other high schools, colleges, perspectives, and
Yeah, so
scholarships.
as Mary said, that was very Falmouth High specific. And as we did our research over the last few years, we did find that the majority of high schools in Massachusetts, but also we're seeing a trend across the country where many, many high schools are eliminating class rank. Several others are reporting it still, many are, but they're kind of in the same boat as we've been, where they've really been turning this over and considering it. The vast majority of the top ranked high schools across the Commonwealth do not report class rank anymore. And if you look at the U.S. News and World Report at Boston Magazine, you'll see the schools that are rated the highest there no longer include it. As we've looked into what colleges do, we find that the majority of colleges and universities across the country no longer even request class rank, and they're not, even if schools are reporting it or students are putting it on their resumes or it's on transcripts, they're not placing much merit in it anymore. This existed even before COVID, but now especially as things have changed with COVID, as students are coming out of 2 years of just a different way of life, and as we've seen our students' profiles changing, colleges have really broadened their scope and review of applicants, with many colleges now not even requiring the submission of standardized test scores, making the tests optional instead, making class rank optional instead, et cetera. Colleges are really at this point looking more in depth at the whole student, not just the one piece of paper. So we've also looked at the effect this might have on scholarships for our students and just their college futures. And our guidance department, they're so wonderful. It is National Counselors Week, so much great appreciation to our guidance and our counseling staff at Falmouth High School. And in close contact with them, they're talking to the colleges all the time. They have their contacts, and what we're hearing back is that many are saying that class rank is really optional now. So eliminating it is not truly a disservice to the students, and so we don't even report it in connection with scholarships many times unless it's specifically asked for, and you're finding that less and less. So again, as Mary said, the memo, I think, has more detail on it, but we wanted to come and see if, covering those basics, are there any questions?
Wonderful, thank you. Are there any questions related to class rank?
I'm just wondering how, it doesn't seem like us decision.
No,
So,
it's
okay, I'm just making sure that
Just-
I didn't miss something, that this is purely informational.
Yes,
We're not taking action on this. just
right, exactly. No,
presentation.
it's just
No action.
information. Do you have any questions that you can understand, or if families come to you,
Yeah,
that you have a better understanding? So
that's
you can
great. It's
answer
great.
it.
And the high school will, I don't want to speak for Tom, but the high school will roll it out slowly with parents and students and families, just to let them know. And it won't take effect until the class of 2026, which would be the incoming freshman class next fall.
No,
Yeah, we
and
didn't think it was fair to switch things midstream on a cohort that had already been at Falmouth High School with the system in place.
although I think most parents don't pay attention to any of it until senior year.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Then I'm like, wait a minute, it's calculated how? And,
right.
for what that's worth.
Bill Ryder.
Are points considered a weighting of a course? Because when you mention an elective and you say, well, we're going to give it CP quality points, are you weighing that course? Are you giving that extra point value? And,
Yeah.
and also with that, along with that, on your AP and honors courses, do you weight those? Do you give that a +5 or something? So if a kid has a 95 average, it's then on the GPA could average out to 101, depending on how you do that. I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
it's a little different than a weighted GPA. It's a different calculation. Falmouth High has always used a standard 4.0 GPA when calculating, a student's GPA. We did always have a weighted class rank system. So, and it was so muddled in the calculation, as Mary pointed out. Not only were courses weighted, but you didn't have equity from, let's say, one set of electives to another set of electives, that when a student maybe had an opportunity to take an honors class, if any opportunity to take an honors class. And so there, as we're trying to create equity, I think Mary made a great point saying, what we're really looking at now is colleges will still see that students have challenged themselves with honors and AP courses, and we do need to still address that question of equity, but the students are really in competition with themselves and what the courses that they want to take, the path they want to make for themselves, especially as we look at all the investment we've made into our CVTE offerings over the last few years, just really opening those doors for students and allowing more and more students into things like honors and AP classes and taking away those gates. Schools will still see that they've taken those courses, but we're trying to take a big part of that competition away as well.
And honestly, I think even if we didn't have this weird formula of calculating class rank, I think we'd still be having the conversation about eliminating class rank, because honestly, it creates stress for students. And now the trend truly is across high schools and across colleges and universities, they are just not looking at class rank. And we even talked at the high school about, well, maybe we should do a weighted GPA. And then we decided, well, you know what, that creates the same kind of stress that class rank does. And regardless, colleges and universities now, they recalculate GPA. Because so many different schools have different ways of calculating GPA, that they actually will take a student's transcript and they will recalculate GPA based on what they want to do.
Great. Terry, I saw your hand go up.
No, I'm just gonna say that the GPA is an accurate enough picture.
Yes.
People address what I was thinking about anyway. I don't have.
Okay, that's fine. Any other questions or comments?
I just want to follow on what Terry said, that, the GPA is more accurate, but but I don't think it is if it's weighted. Because, there are kids in a CP class who are busting their butt to get an A. And to say their A isn't as good as somebody who's in an AP class who gets an A really does a disservice to how hard that kid might be working. And I take issue with that, but good point.
Yeah, I agree totally, Kelly. That's why I was totally against the weighted piece. I just think that it's, let's have a level playing field for all of our students.
Let them just take the course
courses that are best for them and that keep them where they are and let them succeed in whatever that is.
The level playing field, or the diversified level playing field, is entered on the transcript. Because colleges look at the transcript, they can see AP, they can see CP, they can see honors, and get a great look at what a student is capable of doing. So again, with GPA, whatever, with class rank, whatever, but I think the true denomination of a student is the transcript.
And I will say, Falmouth High School has an excellent reputation with colleges and universities. And, year after year, we're getting students into excellent colleges, universities. All of the courses are rigorous and challenging. And I think, and our guidance department does an unbelievable job in guiding students to, colleges and universities. If a student is going with that track, they will really help. And I really think that the class rank, I've just known, seeing it not only with my own daughters, but with all the students that I've dealt with over the years, it's really been unhealthy competition, but also this weird formula just has created so many questions and confusion for people. And we've had colleges even ask, how are you calculating class rank like this? So I think it's definitely the way to go.
Melissa. I couldn't agree more with Kelly as far as the level playing field and having issue where some classes are weighted more heavy, because as it, we're if it's not, we're talking out of both sides of our mouth, because we're looking at students and we're saying, be your best self, do things that work for you, and then, but you're not in a AP class, and so you're doing well in English, plain English, but that's not good enough. It sets you up for this whole, you're just not good enough for whatever it is. So I appreciate Kelly's comments, and I was just kind of commenting to that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you, Mary and Tom, for coming in and explaining this to us. I think it's a great direction that you're exploring. So thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Take care.
Thank you.
Next, discussion on Chapter 70 funding.
So slightly different than the current budget, not to confuse things, but I'm going to turn this over to Patrick because we have received information on the governor's proposed budget, and I'd like Patrick to explain that so we all understand.
Great, thank you.
Very good. So Leah, I think you had something in your head 2 weeks ago or about the Student Opportunity Act, and it came true. So when the governor's budget was dropped a little over a week and a half ago, there's estimates on Chapter 70 funding that goes out to all the schools in their spreadsheets. And Jennifer Mullen, the town CFO, and I took a look at those, and we immediately got on the phone to our DESE contact and asked if they made a mistake. And what they shared was that the Student Opportunity Act was being implemented, and the impact on Falmouth was a $2.2 million increase in our Chapter 70 allocation that goes to the town and is used for educational funding. Then drilling down into that, their sort of generic response was this is the beginning of the Chapter 70, the Student Opportunity Act implementation through Chapter 70. And there's a significant amount of the change is due to the inflationary rate that they calculated on Chapter 70, which is at 4.5%, which is sort of what the cap is for Student Opportunity Act. But when we drilled down into the details of how Falmouth was impacted by this Student Opportunity Act, what we found was very distinctly that the calculation that the state made based upon the October 2021 student demographic reports showed that the number of economically disadvantaged children in the districts increased by 263 children, which is a percentage increase of about 25%, which is a huge increase for any town most towns to experience. And when I look for comparative municipalities, the ones that you might have guessed on the Cape are the ones that also saw very large increases. The Barnspoles and the DYs saw very large increases for similar reasons, in that their demographics of their student population changed. The change happened in such a significant manner that the way that the state categorizes towns is on effectively a 12-point step. And for the longest time, Falmouth was right at step number 6, sort of the average level of economically disadvantaged students, which is about a third of our students. We jumped up to step 8, given their calculation, and the amount of money that is allocated to students based upon what step you're on, sort of intensity levels of poverty in a community, increases also. So that is the reason for this significant increase. The next step on this, though, is this is the governor's budget, right? We understand that the House has to present a budget, the Senate has to present a budget, then it has to be reconciled and passed and through the House and the Senate, and then the governor has to approve it and sign it. And that's usually, if we're lucky, sometime by the end of July on normal years. So the conversations with the town CFO about, okay, what is an appropriate strategy given where we are in the budget cycle, and also conversations with other communities and about how to handle this was that we should continue on with our current budget cycle and our current budget number, present that to the FinCom. The FinCom may be able to do something with that also, and then wait for this budget to be passed and signed into law in the summer. And then in the November town meeting, since this would be local monies, this would need to be locally approved and locally allocated. The November town meeting, there would be a recommendation to do a special allocation to the school district for this amount of money. And one of the reasons that this is giving us time is important is there is the expectation that the SOA number may not change, but other equations that are used to calculate educational funding or educational expenses may change over the next 5 or 6 months. And that includes circuit breaker, that includes school choice, that includes sort of allocations to tech schools, and I'm probably missing some things there too. But there's some other equations that happen during the state budget process that are part of educational funding that may not be specific to the school district, but the town has to take account of, that could impact this overall amount of revenue coming into the town, maybe positively, maybe negatively. So that is the recommendation, I think, from myself and the town CFO, that we should just continue to pay attention to this process, get updated on this process, and make plans and give ourselves a chance to make plans on how best to use these funds. Because guess what? This is considered the Student Opportunity Act. This isn't necessarily the Town of Falmouth Opportunity Act. This is the Student Opportunity Act, and it's distinctly for the money is distinctly being sent to the town for the schools because of the growing percentage of our students who are economically disadvantaged. So I'm going to stop right there. I can go into other details about the calculation and why it's changed so dramatically, but I don't want to sort of prevent people from asking questions if they want to jump in right now.
Great, thank you, Patrick. Leah.
Thank you, Patrick. I was anticipating the SOA information, so that's great. My question is, I think you said it was based off of 2021 Sims. So just thinking about where we were in October 2021, right? No, that was 2020.
No, you're asking the exact right question. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. What it's changing, right?
Yes.
Right. So we asked that exact same question. So then we drill down into the way that the children are become part of the economically disadvantaged group, or calculated as part of being that group. And that is something that has changed just this year. And for the last 5 years, the way the state has calculated, it's been 133% of the federal poverty level. What has changed just this year is that students who are within 185%, or their families are within 185% of the federal poverty level, are considered economically disadvantaged. And just to bring that home and make it real, 133% of the federal poverty level for a family of 4 is about $35,000. For a family, 185% of the federal poverty level for a family of 4 is a little over $49,000. So the other part of this is that the state has gotten very good, I would say, at doing direct certification of who qualifies for these designations. And it's anybody who's receiving transitional assistance, SNAP, foster children, homeless children, and most importantly, we understand our local economy is any children who are covered under Mass Health. And a lot of folks who are in seasonal positions, who have families, are covered under Mass Health. So, Leah, your point about, our demographics may be changing. Yes, they will be changing a bit, but this change in how folks are qualified to be in this designation, that's a more significant change, and that's not changing. So, and then to sort of jump to the next question, we absolutely did ask, okay, what about the next year's? Could this be a very spiky number? And the thought process from what we're hearing now is unlikely that this could become our new baseline. That's the answer, that this is more likely to become our new baseline of Chapter 70 dollars coming to the town on an ongoing basis. So, there's a hold harmless clauses in terms of state funding under Chapter 70. There's other reasons why it is unlikely that this is going to be a spiky number. So I hope I didn't sort of jump too far ahead of your questions, but I've been asking the same questions.
I just want to acknowledge that I'm just so happy to hear
yeah,
we are getting funds that I really do think our community needs. And this is a very different conversation than we had with the first SOA piece of looking at how small that money was, knowing the needs of the community. So I'm really happy to hear this,
Yeah.
and I'm also really happy that even if we're changing the percentage, we're still gonna be in good shape, so.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is that from time to time, we just continue to provide updates on this. We are in regular conversations with the town CFO on this. And as we see it go through the House and the Senate and see if there's any changes on this, we'll communicate those. But the discussion about a November allocation, we're also thinking about sort of the sort of the tactical implications of how do you move forward with making changes and implementing things that we want to implement sooner rather than later. And I think we have some ideas on how to do that too.
Andrea, I saw your hand.
Yes, great, thank you for that. I guess I was sort of thinking tactically as well. And I was wondering, with the Student Opportunity Act, are there any parameters around that as to how that money can be spent? Or is that going to just be fed into Chapter 70?
It is Chapter 70. It is Chapter 70. It's an updated implementation of Chapter 70.
Because I was thinking, if we need that allocation at the November town meeting, will there be, like, I think we need to be able to present the same information that we're hearing today to our community to raise awareness of needs of our students.
So, and this is sort of a brainstorming discussion. At some point, I think through our office and under the guidance of the superintendent, we would come up with a plan for the use of this additional allocation that the school committee would approve, and that would sort of be part of the communication and messaging plan, right? And there's already, because other communities are sort of in the same boat in terms of where they are in their budget cycle and things like that, there's already sort of these tactical discussions that are into the nitty-gritty of how to handle the accounting of, okay, I want to start implementing things in September, but I might not have the money allocated till November. Can I use these funds at this time and then, backfill, those kind of things? That was our discussion this afternoon on a MASBO Zoom meeting. So this discussion is happening now.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah.
No.
But I'm just thinking about, so Laura, you're gonna have to write a Student Opportunity Act plan, right? Is that
has not been communicated yet.
okay? Because I do think that there's some parameters with the SOA funds.
There were the first time around,
Okay.
but that has not been communicated for the Chapter 70 funds now.
Oh.
Right.
More to come. This is
Yeah.
early.
This is
Very
more to
early
come.
information.
Okay.
So we just wanted to make sure that everyone knew the information, and we had an opportunity to talk, but this won't be the last time we're gonna be thinking about it. As we learn more, we'll certainly bring it back to the school committee.
Yes, I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed now. And as Lori said, I know that we'll have many, many more discussions to come. So thank you.
Patrick, thank you.
Thanks.
Take it. Next, act on gearing up for kindergarten handbook. And as you recall, we had our first read of this handbook at our last meeting, and I'll turn over to Dr. Dorr.
So at the last school committee meeting, there were suggestions made. We were during the policy subcommittee, we were able to incorporate the recommendations, as well as having our DEI officer, Jackie Hartman, review, and we also incorporated the suggestions made by Jackie. So if you look through the now updated kindergarten handbook. You can see that it's highlighted, it's struck through to represent the changes that were requested.
Kelly, I'll make a motion to approve the updated hearing for kindergarten handbook. I think the changes were awesome.
A lot of work
really
into
hit
that.
like all the things that we had talked about and then some.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll second it and also second what Kelly said. You guys did such an awesome job revising this, and I know how much work I put on you for all those edits. I was just so pleased with reading it. So thank you so much for all your help with that.
I know Sonia's not with us tonight, but I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Dr. Tellier. So yeah.
That's great. Andrea.
And just to throw in that we also did look at readability and reading level. And there are certain pieces to it that, so our score is just above what you would want it to be. And, but certain things like policy or laws or those kind of names, or even silly spellings in book titles will do that. And we've considered pulling some of those out and seeing if the readability, but because we were so close to where we wanted to be, we thought that those other things are probably what's putting it over the level, and we didn't take that extra step. But we think that's great. We worked on some of the details to try to bring that down. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for
And I did
clarifying
notice some of
that.
those readability things in here, just wording changes and stuff, that it's a little bit easier to understand for everybody.
That's
And we
wonderful.
we also make sure that sentences do not end with prepositions.
Thank you. Thank you for that as well.
What about the Oxford comma?
We have to use that. I'm
Keep
sorry.
Funny. Okay, so we have, go ahead.
Just give a shout out to the school committee members that are on the policy subcommittee, because I mean, the work is ongoing and it's been a lot of work. And so their dedication and just willingness to really take the time. This is, you know, just page by page. I mean, this is not a quick approval type of thing. Everyone's really involved. So it's a pleasure to be on a committee like this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, policy. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and it will be a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Hurt, yes.
Bill Ryder.
Ryder, yes.
Terry Bujeris, yes.
Bill Dorfer, yes.
Welch, yes.
Melissa Keefe, yes.
Leah Palmer, yes. Andrea Thorold, yes.
And Natalie Cantalopoulos, yes. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing that in the schools. Next, act on school choice seats for 2022, 2023. And Dr. Woodward shared a presentation with us last week, or last meeting, not last week. Is there a motion to act on the school choice seats? Kelly.
Make a motion.
That's great.
I'll make a motion to approve the school choice seats for 2022, 23.
That doesn't roll off the tongue, does
Not
it?
quite as much. And I loved the form, the materials that Joan sent out. Joan, thank you so much, with the yellow and blue, so we could really see the new students versus the already enrolled students. It was so great. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. So motion, is there a second? Andrea, second?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Roll
Can I
call.
just give a
Yes,
comment before you-
yes.
Yeah, and Joan, I want to thank you so much for that. And also the bottom part of going through kind of the retention piece of who stayed in the community.
Oh, yes,
Just
yeah.
really, really helpful. And I don't know, I know that usually we share some visuals. I'm just hoping we can get that out to the public too, so they can see it. And I don't know how that's done, but it doesn't have to be right now, but just in general, getting it out, because it really is so well done, and it really kind of speaks to the story of who our school choice students are.
And how many there are.
And how many,
That's great.
Thank you for that, Leah. Okay, roll call, Lisa Hart.
Lisa Hurt, yes.
Ryder, yes.
Terry Bujeris, yes.
Dorfer, yes.
Welch, yes.
Melissa Keefe, yes.
Leah Palmer, yes.
Andrea Thorold, yes.
And Natalie Cantalopoulos, also a yes. Update from the superintendent.
Thank you. So I just want to mention we've had some a number of weather-related closures this year. Just had our fifth one. So I just want to give a shout out to some people, because during the time of trying to assess the conditions and making decisions, I have to tell you that DPW, Chief Dunn, Chief Smith, they are readily available at all times. We have multiple conversations, and whatever they're in the middle of at the time, it's just a great working relationship, and it's nice to have the support and the quick information to be able to continue to assess. So a shout out to them. And then internally, I just have to give a shout out to Don Drew. He's just fantastic. And he is, again, calling and texting and giving every bit of update to Patrick and I on our buildings, about our, how many people are getting into work, and just the time estimates, and what their assessment of the roads, and it's just constant communication, and it's so appreciative. And I just wanted to give him a shout out as well. So I know that.
So when is our last day? I lost track with all of the snow days.
Right.
28, okay.
We'll
I don't
circle
even
back
know.
to
We'll
that,
circle
Kelly.
back.
Yeah,
You
we'll
know,
circle
but
back.
I think it's true for everybody, like, if there's only one snow day, like, we can remember,
Yeah.
even two.
So-
But at this point, I've lost all
So
track of when
we've
these
had
kids are gonna
5
be-
days. So on our calendar, if you look at the 5 days added, that's where we are.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so highly unusual to actually have all 5
Yeah,
days,
for
and that for the makeup days at the
And
end.
to
So
think
that's
we
where we
spent so
are.
much time on the calendar because we didn't want to have
Yeah.
that kids come back for a half a day, and now we're at 5 extra days.
It's 5 days. Yep.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, so we did have the annual legislative breakfast. We had many of our legislators there. I know that some school committee members, and thank you to Andrea. You actually facilitated the students from Martha's Vineyard, which was a fantastic presentation. Always love to hear from them. But anyway, it was very good. I thought their small breakout sessions were good. To hear more from the legislators, but then the students, are really the highlight of any time. But really talking about the mental health programs that they have, and talking through those. And I know Joan Woodward and I also had a conversation afterwards, and just really looking into what they talked about and how it might relate or work here as well, or the equivalent of maybe some of the programs that we're doing, but certainly wanting to always improve, because that's just our model, right? Listen, learn, and make good changes. So I just wanted to give a shout out about that. So no guff week is over, but no guff should last all year long. But we had the award ceremonies both at Falmouth High School and at Lawrence, where many students were recognized. One of the nice things with the ceremony is that the peers actually select the student awards, and so that's always nice. And then you may have read in my article about Rich Rogers. There were so many good things said about that, but VIPS following through with that process, and having nominations, and then presenting the community award. And his entire family came. And well, I don't know if it was entire family. It couldn't have been the entire family. Yeah, as soon as I said that, entire immediate family. And then there were some additional people, but it was he was overwhelmed and just full of gratitude for the recognition. But it was very nice. I just and then this is the first time that first year that we've actually recognized the student, and we presented a art design award. It was Jaquan Pliers is the one that designed your t-shirts that you have, and we just thought it was such an innovative, visionary design, and nothing like we've ever had. And so just a shout out. It was wonderful. It's just good to see so many kids being able to to be involved. And I I did send to you the link, and if I have not, I'm going to do that just so that you can see the ceremony. If I haven't done that already, I'll check on that. Okay, so I did attend the last Friday at the open reception for the district-wide art show. If you have not had a chance to see it, I would highly recommend to go down to our Falmouth Arts Center. We had students selected from every one of our schools, and they are displayed. It was a lot of fun because a lot of the parents and students were actually there to see, and so to get to talk to the students and how they came about in their pictures was a lot of fun. But really some outstanding work. It's really incredible. We have such fantastic art teachers at every level in our district, and it's just amazing the work that our students produce. And you can also see our teachers' work because they're displayed there as well. And so that was a lot of fun.
And not to interrupt you, but that's for the month of February.
They're all through the month of February. Yeah, thank you. So this is Black History Month, and we, although we are really working hard to add authentic history in all of our courses, and but we also appreciate this month to be able to celebrate. And so we've at some of our elementary and pre-K through 6 examples. We have learned about an artist, John Michael Basquiat, in 4th grade, and made art in his very unique style. We have music in the morning in our elementary schools, so Black composers and popular artists. So every morning throughout the month, we'll be highlighting. We have 2 schools that are doing story walks. One story by Zetta Elliott, and the other by Amanda Gorman. And so both schools have done stories before, but then these are very unique. So you can walk through, there's QR codes, and anyone can go through the story walks. In the libraries, we're displaying biographies of famous Black people that have made accomplishments, and the students are learning about the accomplishments. We have 5th and 6th grade teachers that embed lessons within their ELA and social studies that has insight into the Black experience and the danger of a single story. And so those multiple perspectives are important. At Lawrence, just one thing from Lawrence, they are hosting an image of an iconic Black American and an inspirational quote every day in their daily announcements. And at the high school, students are discussing wanting to have a freedom walk during Clipper time. So just one at each one of those levels. And just, I know that Mr. McManaman gave a shout out for the National School Counseling Week, but I also want to just say how much we appreciate our counselors, the school counselors, our school adjustment counselors, and all the work that they have done. And in your packet, there is a flyer about the proclamation that I signed for our school counselors for National School Counselor Week.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments for Dr. Dorr? Great, thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
Next, routine business to approve minutes of January 25th, 2022. Is there a motion? Make a motion. Melissa, a second.
Second.
Bill Ryder, second. And it's a roll call vote. Lisa?
Lisa Hart, yes.
Bill Ryder?
Ryder, yes.
Jerry Mears, yes.
Dorfer, yes.
Welch, yes.
Melissa Keith.
And Homer, yes. Kendra Cole, yes.
And Natalie Canalopoulos is also a yes. Committee member reports. Any updates? I just have one.
Yeah.
So since I'm a senior, I knew that the senior meetings were getting ready
start getting planned. So I reached out to the high school because the school committee usually coordinates the voter registration effort associated with graduation. We didn't get to do it last year. We actually didn't get to do it really the year before that either, but I didn't want to get lost. So that's on the high school radar. If anybody wants to help, that would be awesome. I don't have a date or anything, but just wanted everybody to know that we didn't forget.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I'll share an update that the communication goal 1 subcommittee group, we met 2 weeks ago or so. And we had the opportunity to go through the results of the stakeholder survey. And I'll share that with the committee along with the raw data so you can look at that. And we, Terry, Melissa, and I had the idea of hosting 2 forums for the community to speak to us directly. So on March 2nd, and we'll publicize this, but just so that you know, on March 2nd at 4 o'clock at the T-Ticket School, we'll be available to meet with any staff members who want to come down and just say hello and share some ideas with us. And then also same day, March 2nd at 7 p.m. We'll also be at T-Ticket School again to meet with families and other community members. And also a follow-up, I thought March would be a great opportunity to touch base on our goals as a whole. And so at the March 22nd meeting, we'll take a few minutes just to sort of touch base and see where we are. And at that meeting, we'll also be able to share some of the feedback that we received from the listening session as well. So any other committee member reports? Andrea?
I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, you may have already seen it starting to circulate on social media, but the VIPS Board of Directors has the annual appeal on the week leading up to Valentine's Day. It's the I Love VIPS, and there's some really great things that will be shared with some videos and some of the feedback from students that I know you all enjoy hearing. And those should be coming out every day, so you can keep a lookout for those and feel free to share them widely.
Great, thank you, Andrea. Bill?
In the area of capital improvements,
Yes.
had a meeting, and the T-Ticket roof is scheduled to be done this summer. And one of the things that came out of this meeting is I know there were a lot of people who or some people who had inquired about the possibility of making that a solar ready roof. And as I think everybody agreed, as much as we would all love that to be a possibility, just the age of the building and the shape of the roof and so forth just is not feasible for that to be done. So that won't be able to be done. However, the roof project in general is ready to move forward for the summer. And Patrick, if I missed anything important on that one, jump in. But
We got great bids back. So that's the most important piece.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you, Bill, for the update. Any other updates or community member reports? Okay, requests for information.
Yeah, just Lori, thank you for sharing the access information, and I'm just around just with also with Joan's report, just a way so people can see that. And I loved walking in and seeing my Portuguese welcome over here. So that was nice. So I'm definitely seeing more language access support around. Great.
Great, and thank you, Leah, for mentioning access, because one other piece that we started last week, our last meeting, the meeting minutes are now going out to all family members, a link to them on the Friday from the district, the email from the district, so that people can sort of hear what we're doing and hear updates as well. So, but thank you, another piece of access. Okay, so any other requests for information? I make a motion to move into executive session to discuss strategy for litigation. If held in open meeting, it may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the school committee. It is anticipated that the school committee will not return to public session. Is there a second?
A second.
Bill Dorfner, and it's a roll call vote. Lisa?
Lisa Hart, yes.
Bill Ryder?
Yes.
Karen Badouris, yes.
Dorfner, yes.
Welch, yes. Melissa?
Melissa Keith, yes.
Leah Palmer, yes. Andrea Cross, yes.
And Natalie Cantalopoulos also a yes. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll meet in executive session.